Well, ladies and gentlemen, it looks like the crazy white leftists that are looking desperately for any sort of win that they could possibly get on Stellar Blade, it looks like they finally got that win. We have an article here from That Park Place with a headline that reads, Sony replaces the word hard with crime in Stellar Blade after being accused of racism. Now, you're probably wondering to yourself, what the hell are they talking about? What could possibly be confused as racism? Well, I'll tell you, when people are so desperate and they need to have anything to make this game look bad because it goes against their ideology. This entire game goes against leftist white ideology. They saw a word hard graffitied on a wall next to a shop that's called the R shop, and they saw hard R and thought racism.
That's racist!
Yes, ladies and gentlemen, this absolutely gigantic, ginormous nothing burger is just what the hardcore leftists are trying to utilize to now censor Stellar Blade. And it looks like Sony has already bent the knee. Now, I don't know if Shift Up was the one that made this decision. I believe it was just Sony that forced their hand because, let's be real, Sony is weak cucks at the end of the day. But ultimately, what this is going to lead to is that by them censoring this, even though it's a nothing burger, it literally is just stupid. If they censor this, this is only going to be the beginning of future censorship requests that Sony is absolutely going to be okay with. So let's get into this article, guys, from That Park Place. But of course, before we do, if you are new here, just consider hitting that subscribe button. I would greatly appreciate it, and like the video to push us out into that YouTube algorithm. So it says, publisher Sony replaced the word hard with crime in Stellar Blade after the game was accused of racism. Now, let's be very clear. Nobody looked at this, right, and saw racism. All that happened was that some leftists saw this picture while they were playing the game, or maybe they saw it online. They saw this picture and they looked at it a second time and they say, wait a second, I can use this. We can use this. We can definitely use this and get a win against this game. Let's make this happen right now. And they were right. They were right. Sony bent the knee. It says in one section of the game, the player can see graffiti that reads hard on the wall. Next to this graffiti is a sign for the R shop with an arrow pointing to it. IGN's Kat Bailey reported that the graffiti in the R shop sign referenced racial slurs that was discovered during the review process. Holy shit. Holy shit, Kat Bailey. Kat Bailey. I guarantee you Kat Bailey's probably a white woman, most likely. Maybe it's a trans dude. I really don't even know. Don't care. If you looked at this game and you saw hard R, that means that while you were playing Stellar Blade, you weren't playing it to enjoy the game. You weren't playing it to review the game. You were playing this game to look for problems. You were playing this game to justify why you are a DEI hire of some sort. You were playing this game to actively look for anything possible that can be used to disparage the game. That's what you were doing. You weren't playing the game genuinely. You weren't playing to enjoy it. You damn sure weren't playing to review it, because the entire time you were looking for problems. They need to look for problems, because without problems, they can't provide a fake solution. They can't talk about it, and that's the issue. They know for a fact that this is fucking nothing. They know for a fact that this is not racist in the slightest. They know for a fact that just the way you saw hard R, you could have easily read it as harder. There's nothing here that says this has to do with the N-word. Nothing. Absolutely nothing. You are the ones that are making this because you, Kat Bailey, like most white leftists, you are actually inherently extremely racist people, that you think that everything has to be racist. Everything has to be a reference to some sort of racial thing. Everything has to be racist in your mind. It's stupid. According to Urban Dictionary, hard R is a phrase referring to the words, N and N, and the latter being referred to as the hard R. Interestingly, Bailey notes in Stellar Blade, the R shop references Roxanne, who is one of the game's information brokers. The hard graffiti, meanwhile, can be found in numerous areas throughout the game. Wait, time out. So you're openly admitting that the word hard can be found in multiple different places in the game, not just next to the R shop. So this hard graffiti is multiple different places in the game. But because in this spot right here, it happened to be next to the R shop, that's when it all of a sudden became racism. That goes to show that the whole hard R thing is not an actual racist term whatsoever. There's nothing racial about it. If the hard word is literally found everywhere else in the game, and it just so happened to be next to the R shop here in this particular section of the game, you wanted to see racism. That's what you wanted to see in here. It's because you were looking for it. I'm telling you, these people are extremely disingenuous. Nevertheless, Sony informed IGN the placement of two graphics near each other in Stellar Blade resulted in an unintentional objectionable phrase. Shift Up had no intention of creating offensive artwork and will be replacing the graffiti for the day one patch. Now, again, I don't know if this was Shift Up or if this was Sony. It looks like it was Sony, to be honest with you. I don't think Shift Up would do this because, let's be real, they didn't intend this to be racist because it's not racist. There's nothing racist about this at all. So I think Sony's the one that stepped up here. It says, as reported by YouTuber Lance McDonald, the hard graffiti was changed to crime as part of the patch that adds new game plus. Look at this. Look at this. Now, here's the funny thing about all this, okay? So if hard R, right? If the R is what made hard racist, right? If the R is what made hard related to black people, that means that the R still has to have some sort of prominence or reference to black people. So now you decided to say crime? You decided to put crime next to the R shop because the R is what made it racist in the first place. So now you put crime when you're referencing black people to the R shop. Like, what are you doing? This is the fastest patch I've ever seen in my life. This is the most pathetic thing I have ever seen. It really, really is. This change appears to fly in the face of a post from April 21st that claimed that Stellar Blade will be uncensored in all countries. The official Stellar Blade account posted Stellar Blade offers the same uncensored version in all countries, including the Japanese version. Now, we did talk about this and we did mention this, and now this inherently makes that entire comment not true. So I wonder if Shift Up is going to make a comment and have a discussion about this, because ultimately their game has in fact been censored. Their game was censored even in the slightest nothing burger way. It was still censored, and you gave these leftist lunatics a win. And now that you gave them a win, I promise you, the moment you give them an inch, they're going to take 1,000 miles from you. They're going to find something, somewhere, somehow, some way to continue to complain about your game, to try to censor it as much as possible, to try to mold it in their image, and it's going to become a problem. I really am disappointed that Shift Up even allowed this, but I think ultimately with their publishing agreement with Sony, they probably had to. But if that was the case, Sony would have censored it in the first place to begin with. It wouldn't have even been in the game. So I don't really know what's going on here. I really hope Shift Up had minimal thing to do with this. But if they were the ones who decided to censor it and they bent the knee, then that's going to be highly, highly disappointing, because a lot of people are supporting this game for many different reasons aside from it being a good game. They want people to know that we don't want censorship. We want actual good gameplay with good story, good combat, good everything that just happens to be from the creative vision of whoever made it, and without censoring it. Even if it was a hardcore lefty game, I don't want it censored. I want the actual original game that was made by whoever made it. So give me that image, give me that view, and don't censor it because you think I'm going to get offended. You are getting offended for me. You are getting offended for other people. If people want to get offended, they will get offended and they will return the game. They will make their own decisions. Let the market make their own decisions and stop trying to nanny people. Stop trying to be everybody's grandmother and talking about, oh, this is offensive, we need to protect you from it. No, stop this nonsense. Nobody thought hard R was racist. I read this, or I would read this as harder in my opinion. That's how I would read it. So that just goes to show the difference in mentality between a white leftist that has to constantly be anti-racist because they're racist all the other times, and people like me that never see racism in anything because I'm too busy trying to look at people's merit versus what their skin color is. This is a nothing burger and will remain to be a nothing burger, and is a small win in the overall grand scheme of Stellar Blade. So let's see what happens when the game comes out, and we'll go from there. So anyway, guys, thank you so much for watching this video. I hope you did enjoy it, and if you did, consider leaving me a subscribe. I would greatly appreciate it. Don't forget to like the video, comment, let me know what you thought, and I'll see you guys on the next one. Hypnotic out.